Thanks for clicking on Conversations with Crosswinds Counseling. I'm Curtis Smith, and I invite you to subscribe to our podcast and to like and share it as well. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Crosswinds Counseling. I'm your host, Curtis Smith. Joining me today, Karen Albrecht, one of the many great counselors here at Crosswinds Counseling. And it's early August, Karen, and boy, in my childhood, that meant you had about a month of summer left before school started around Labor Day, but that is not the case anymore. Early August means it's back to school time now. And so we wanted to talk today about what that season of life looks like for a lot of families, getting kids out of summer mode, back into school mode. I think it might even be a little tougher when you're doing it actually in summer rather than September.
Absolutely.
What are you seeing as you work with families at this time of year? What is that transition like as kids get back into school?
Yeah, the transition is, I think a lot of people feel like it's like getting ready for the first snow of the year. We all know it's coming,
Right.
but we have to, get ready. Some of us are excited about it. Some of us are nervous about it. But I think, it's just a time of change, and as kids get older, they're excited, they're nervous, kids are changing schools, things are new teachers. I think it's just, a transition in life. But it's a good opportunity for kids to just like embrace something new. And, it's good to walk with your kids and, just help them through that. I feel like lots of communication, lots of just being present with your kids helps them with, whatever they're facing. But yeah, it starts sooner. There's so much going on with sports and activities, and it just feels like there's a lot going on for families right now.
Right. So going through change is just part of the human experience, right? I mean, we all go through change. A lot of times it's change that we choose. A lot of times it's change that we don't choose, change that's kind of thrust upon us. School might feel that way to kids, right? Like, I love that first snow analogy. It's coming, school's coming back, and yet it is a big change. And so how can folks, both on the parent and the kid side, who don't love change, how can they prepare for it? How can they deal with that when it is such a massive shift to their day-to-day lives?
Right. Going from summer to like routines.
Right.
And I think, even changing one routine is helpful. Like maybe start eating dinner together. Cause I know summer can be so crazy eating, eating on the fly, just eating with whoever's home, but maybe just even starting a week before, just like one routine, like let's all just eat dinner together. This week before school starts, have some time together, even bedtime. I know a lot of people like their kids are up till 10, 11 even later because it's summer and it's still light out. So even just making one shift, I think we can get overwhelmed by, I need to make all these changes. But I think it's helpful to just even make one shift as a family. Like, let's spend some time together at dinner. Let's try to go to bed earlier. I don't know. Everybody wants to. Sometimes it's hard to rein everyone in. But even just like making one change, I think can help to just make that transition.
I like that kind of baby stepping your way back into this new routine rather than, because I remember with my kids, it would often felt like, okay, tomorrow's back to school. So everything you've been doing, your summer routine, it's all out the window.
Right.
Tomorrow we're back to waking up early. You're eating lunch at the exact same time every day, and you better have a lunch. And so pack your lunch. Then we're going to come home, do dinner, do homework, and all of a sudden you're not into one routine. You've got a routine for every segment of your day. To jump right out of summer where you have almost no routine, that's tough. So I love that baby step idea. One further step I would say is that for a lot of people, a lot of kids, school could probably really cause some real anxiety for people who go back to school, and it's not just the routine issue, but it's actually the anxiety of being with people, with being performance anxiety about grades.
Absolutely.
How do you work through those things with kids as they transition back into this season?
Anxiety is the top thing I see with kids. So I work in the schools, And that's the number one thing I see with kids. So I feel like the best thing to do for facing that anxiety, I have kids often when they come and see me just write down their list of everything they're afraid of, like what is causing their anxiety, and just talking through it. I feel like just bringing it to light, making them feel like they're not strange, they're normal. Like a lot of kids are struggling with that. I feel like really helps them to just know, like, okay, yeah, this is hard, but just bringing it to light, I think, is super helpful.
So the two things that I mentioned are kind of the two that come to mind for anxiety: just being around people, a lot more people than they used to be, and a lot more structure than they used to be. And then that performance anxiety of grades and worrying about all that stuff. Are there other areas of anxiety that when you're working with kids you see come up a lot in school?
Yeah, I mean, definitely with kindergartners, it's that being away from mom. It's getting out of the car for the first time, walking into the school. I mean, there's so many tiers. Some kids bounce out and are ready to go, but there are some kids that just, that transition is really difficult. So that's definitely one of them. Eating lunch, like that's a whole thing. Who am I going to sit by? Am I going to have a friend? All those things can definitely create like worry and anxiety for kids.
Yeah. Another challenge I remember from the parenting kids in school season of my life, your kids are so different. Like you might have one kid who is bouncing out the door like, let's go, I'm so excited, I can't wait to get back to school. And then your next kid is like, school, no thanks, I'm not into that, I don't want to be there. And so that is a real challenge for parents when you see if your first kid is one way and your second kid comes along and they're another way. I know. Navigating that and parenting through that. How do you help parents remember that they're not just the kids, they're individuals with their own emotions and thoughts and feelings. How do you help parents work through that?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to help parents with that is to just continue to build up your own family, like spend time together as a family. Like a couple years ago, my husband and I started doing like devotions with our kids at night. It's something we'd never really done before, at least consistently, and it's not super consistent. But even 1 or 2 nights a week, just having that time to come together, we've been amazed by how we just will maybe read a little bit and then just open it up for our kids to talk, and just how much they enjoy getting to know each other. And sometimes it's like, okay, guys, stop talking because you really need to go to bed. But I found that just like having time together as a family is probably the best thing to do, especially when there's so many differences. Like, get to know each other, Yeah.
Another hurdle that just popped into my mind is that in this season of life, things are so busy. If you have kids in school is a lot. There's always after school activities. You got your own life, your own jobs.
I know, it's crazy.
All this stuff to juggle, right? It might be another excuse, another reason that someone wouldn't do counseling. There's the normal stigma, fear of, I don't want to do counseling. I don't know if we need counseling. And then you throw in the busyness of that phase of life. How important is it for families, for parents with their kids to consider counseling in these situations?
Yeah, I think it's super important. When things are coming up, it's just, good to have another person to talk to, good to have another person to pour into your kid's life or your own life to work through things. I think investing in kids, especially at a young age, it'll produce results in their adult life, how they cope with things in the future. And, one thing Crosswinds does is we do have counselors in a lot of the schools. And so, you're not taking away from more evening time. I mean, it's really nice that they can schedule that, 30 minutes out of their school day. So I think, that's another option for families that have that, have Crosswinds in their kids' schools.
It's a great reminder. We do have counselors in a lot of schools around the regions. And so that is an option, but then doing it together as a family certainly is an option. And counseling isn't scary. It really is just talking with somebody who is trained in ways to help you, in ways to connect. Sometimes it's just to listen and to be a sounding board. And boy, it just seems like it could benefit so many people.
Absolutely.
Karen, thanks so much. It's such an interesting time of year. As I mentioned right at the top, it just feels like it doesn't feel this way. It comes earlier in the summer now, and it's such a big transition for so many people. And I think it's something for us it's good to talk about and have out in the open. So Karen, thanks for your thoughts today on going back to school. We will see you next time on Conversations with Crosswinds Counseling. Thanks for watching Conversations with Crosswinds Counseling today. I hope it was helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Like and share it as well. We appreciate that and hope you have a great day.